Let's introduce this man with the 33rd team. He's been covering the NFL as one of the top insiders, if not the top guy. For us, top guy. We always love having him on the program. Our good friend Jason Cole. Tell us about what's happening with the 33rd team as we get set.
We're a busy place as we get ready for the season. And I'll do my usual, do a little statistical analysis, which dovetails with those who like to say wager occasionally. Not that you would be one of those people, Defo, but not that I'm a gambler, but I know a few of them. Present company at the front of the line.
Exactly.
You're kind of like, when it comes to preseason the wagering, it's like C. Everett Koop when he used to issue the warning and say it's not good for you guys to smoke.
You guys are just dumbasses. That's what you are. Okay? You're just dumbasses. Anybody who bets on preseason football, I mean, it doesn't even qualify for degeneracy. It's like, it's a level below degeneracy. I just have to tell you that. And I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And I know that you know that.
I would agree with you 1,000% on that particular aspect of wagering. Everybody was saying they were cashing.
The people who lose aren't going to call you and tell you they lost.
That's true.
Nobody calls and says, hey, I lost $1,000 on that.
I haven't cashed in 3 years, exactly.
Nobody does that. You might as well play, Russian roulette with two bullets. I mean, like, just, like that's what you might as well.
A four-chamber gun.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're going to be back with you guys. I just got back from Las Vegas last night, and this is a sub-addendum to my book. Thank God I was broke at the time, because it's actually applicable. I mean, if you're going to get divorced, the best condition that you could possibly be in is to be broke. That's when it's a good time. Thank God I was broke at the time, and thank God I was losing at the time. When I got to the sports book at Caesar's Palace, which wasn't hard to reach since I just had to come down an elevator. It's great. No car keys, no nothing. You don't have to worry about a thing. I mean, what could be closer to dying and going to heaven than not even having to travel, and you're already at a racetrack at 9 in the morning? It's just unbelievable, and there's action to go ahead and engage in. But thank God I was losing at the time, because I almost bet 2 preseason games, Lubie. In open defiance to the very credo that we operate under here, the most fundamental principle that we promote here on the program, and try to get the public to realize that betting on preseason football is for the criminally insane. It absolutely is. Possibly judge anything by what's going on in the preseason. You're watching these scrubs come in there, and some of them fare well, and some of them don't. It's scrub versus scrub, which also makes it pretty hard to handicap. It's one thing. It'd be like handicapping the horses in a horse race, and then they run a bunch of different horses instead. Yep. And you're thinking, well, by all rights, Philadelphia seems like a much better team than, let's say, whatever, the Tennessee Titans. But, I mean, you don't know who's playing and at what level, what caliber of player is going to be out there. We did see Tua get a start there for the Dolphins. I almost parlayed the 2 dogs, which I would have won had I gone ahead and done that, because I believe were the Chargers also an underdog on Sunday. Is that possible, Lubie? I think they prevailed pretty handily over the New Orleans.
Here it says they were a favorite. I don't know where they started, but
okay,
they covered handily.
All right, then they may have been favored. So I would have lost that too, Lubie. There you go. Because I thought I was going to bet the 2 underdogs, and I was going to bet the overs, which I think. Remember, I talked about this many times when I started that Bury Your Bookie show. It was about a little over a year ago, on nofilter.net. And I did my usual rant about the insanity of betting the preseason. And people, just absolutely crucified me, Lubie. You're a dumb this, you're a dumb that. You don't know what you're talking about. How could you possibly even have a show? I mean, we're killing it in the preseason because the unders were prevailing to an unbelievable level of dominance, and you thought, all right, well, what usually happens? The bookies are not stupid. They see that people are cashing at an incredible ratio, and they do their best to turn things around. So this year it's all overs. I think my friend Mike Jones told me, is it possible that overs were like 19-0 or something like that? There weren't that many games, were there? Overs
No,
19-0.
it wasn't 19.
Maybe he was counting first half over-unders. I mean, this guy's breaking it down. It's kind of like the Greek where you're starting to bet quarters. Yeah, I
Yes.
got over 17 in the first quarter. Say, get that bleep out of here. What are you talking about? Anyway, how are you, Lubie? How was your time back here in the homestead? And did you have any observations about your Miami Dolphins in their first preseason action?
I'm good. Football wise, I don't know. I mean, I like that the teams are playing their players again. I mean, Ken and I were talking about this last week. Like, if you remember the beginning of the NFL season, the football was an atrocity for like the first month. So we were hoping that teams would realize, look, as much as the preseason isn't the thing, it's the scrimmages or the practices all during the week. It seemed like these guys needed some action in preseason. So I'm glad week one we saw around the league a lot of the starters got some run. The Dolphins looked the same. They went right down the field and then couldn't get in the goddamn end zone on 3rd and 4th and goal and ran the same stupid play on 3rd and 4th and goal.
Well, that was an issue actually I thought about, Lubie, because it came up while we were watching this game. Do you believe this? And this is another reason why it's irrational to bet on preseason games. That Mike McDaniel, who's known for what, Lubie, usually calls some cutesy play on first down.
Yes.
Gets stuffed, loses 10 yards. Then he runs the ball up the middle. Then he throws some kind of flea flicker in there.
Yeah, yes.
And you're asking yourself, and then goes for it on 4th and 11, even though he's got 11 yards, 4th and goal. And you're saying this is completely asinine. Don't get cute. But I believe this, that in the preseason, here's another reason why it's prohibitive to go ahead and lay money out on this sort of thing. Don't you think he was just trying to see if he could stuff it up the middle and
Yes.
get his offensive line to actually block? And maybe he gets a read on whether or not, did he have starters in the game along the offensive front? I didn't really notice that.
First drive, yeah.
He certainly didn't have any starters in there to protect your boy Zach Wilson,
Wow.
who got sacked 4 times, and then Ewers got sacked a couple of times, 6 sacks once Tua left the lineup, and Tua averaged 4 yards a pass, so it wasn't as if they were asking him to go ahead and do anything particularly difficult. But don't you think that you can't be critical of what McDaniel was doing there in terms of play calling, because I think he was just trying to say, hey, if we can't make a yard, then I need to know that now. No?
I mean, look, the preseason's a place you should do things like that. So we wanted, me and Dolphin fans have wanted him to not be cute. So I don't mind him running in the middle. My problem was it 2 or 3 times? Every time they did it was like a smallish back or a receiver. It's like you don't have the one of your major issues was not having a big back. You still don't have a big back. Like if you're running it on them, like they used to run it with Ingold, who was the size of a running back as a fullback. Like they never had a big back. So it was like, okay, maybe they finally have a big back and they're running it with like receivers and they're quick back. It's like, what are you doing? That's my problem is they still don't have the personnel to fit winning games in tight spaces versus good teams. Like you're going to have to be able to bulldoze it in. I don't mind them trying to bulldoze it in. You're not bulldozing it in with a 180-pound slot guy. It was like both times they ran it with like a smallish either back or receiver, and I was like, that guy's not like what like. So it's like, look, I don't mind the play calling. Actually, I wasn't even mad at the play calling. The personnel is still a major issue, and yes, they had the starting line for like the first drive or two. The starting line looked okay, and then they showed how little depth they have, which is what we've complained about for years. And the backups got annihilated.
Yeah. It was a mad scramble for survival there when Zach was in the ballgame. Zach Wilson, who I actually don't mind as a backup quarterback. I think he's a level up from. At least he's somebody that occasionally has provided a spark on the professional level for teams, even though for the most part it's been negative. And you would have to say that Zach Wilson comes under the heading of draft busts.
Yes.
Yes, especially at the expense people keep making this point because it was brought to light by Shedeur Sanders' performance for the Cleveland Browns, which we don't know if he'll ever duplicate that, if he'll ever be that sharp again. But when he was in there in that opening preseason game for the Browns, he certainly acquitted himself very well, and people started alluding to, well, it doesn't matter where a guy is drafted. It's whether or not he can play. And in the case, though, of somebody that you traded up to go ahead and get, that was so highly coveted, Zach Wilson, coming out of college and coming to the National Football League, you're saying to yourself, productivity to evaluation, all Dolly Parton, man, Bus City. But anyway, yeah. So it was fun. I mean, people were betting these NFL games. It was interesting. The whole thing, the scene in Las Vegas. If you're going out there, make sure you stuff your wallet with plenty of cards that you can tap into and maybe tap out on. If you're planning on dining, the strip dining has become so prohibitive, Lubie. You can't buy a bag of potato chips for less than $10 unless. And what are you going to do? I mean, hop on a bus and go somewhere and try and find a remote 7-Eleven somewhere just off the strip? Impossible. I could not believe the prices. And there are then no options. That's the thing. Every one of these restaurants, it's all Bobby Flay, Gordon Ramsay, and everything is outrageously priced at this stage. I don't know about you. I mean, we have the Mayo Show, of course, and people talk about this, but I don't like just getting gouged at a
No,
restaurant. Do you,
no.
Olivia? I
Oh,
mean, that's I'd rather not eat at all than get clobbered for some of the prices that I saw on these menus. And look, we're in Caesar's Palace or whatever, or some hotel on a strip there. It's not like the 99-cent cocktail prevails anymore. But and if you want to go to some schmutzy place like the Circus, they actually do have a good restaurant that has some value, and maybe one of the lone remaining ones
mhm.
available on the strip. But bring your own food, man. You might want to import a little refrigerator. Because even as spectacular as the accommodations were, they had no refrigerator, and worse.
Oh,
And I
Jesus.
did this one. You use the in room open date. What do they call that? Where you have the to you, but it's on like $30 for a bag of M&Ms.
Yeah, yeah,
In room
yeah.
bar. Yeah.
The bar and
So
whatever.
that usually has a refrigerator with some drinks in there, where you're paying $30 for a Coca Cola.
No.
But if you even move the thing, I don't know. They have some kind of light
Yeah,
that.
it's like a sensor. Yep.
Because I made a mistake one time of putting a couple of beers in that in-room bar, and then I got a bill for like $600. I said like I didn't take anything.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh well, you must have moved some stuff around." I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well,
I
you
shoved
can't have
two
access to
beers.
the fridge. Like Jesus. Yeah, it's
I,
crazy.
I not only never touched it, but I actually like glued the drawer shut where you opened it up to get into that access to that in-room bar refrigerator. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you're getting creamed. If you were getting like a Chilean sea bass somewhere, what would you think would be like the top price that you would pay for like a piece of fish?
I mean, look, we were seeing in the 40s for stuff like that should be in the 20s. So I can't even imagine
Yeah, I mean,
it.
wasn't he known for like grilling hot dogs and burgers? Isn't that how he got famous? So he's got a place called Amalfi in Caesar's Palace. I'm looking, just perusing the menu, just out of curiosity. A Chilean sea bass. I don't know how they did it. They must have plated it in gold. It must have been something that they were serving to Donald Trump because $71 was the price on the menu
Oh,
for a piece
that's
of fish. $71. I'm
they're not
like,
even trying this. Like that's the thing is, and again, you may have a meal like that once a day. Like most of the meals aren't going to be like that. They're lighter. You try to get something quick because you're doing stuff. Like to have that be every meal, like it's just
oh, it's
I
insane.
don't know how do you sustain it? Because look, New York, we know New York's expensive, yeah, but that's not everything. You can get food on the cart. You can go to the
Go
bagel
get a hot
place.
dog for $6 somewhere.
You can go. There are sandwich like not every place is actually. It's like a joke when you say because you can find places that are it's more money than here. Fine, more money than your small town in Wyoming, but it's still not every meal is extravagant and every meal is nuts. Like that's what I've heard about Vegas is like that's what Ken. A lot of people are saying, look, what the guy in DC is doing is scaring the international traveler away. And that is true. There's a lot of things going on in this country that it's a disaster. If you're international, you're not coming here. International travel is way down. Vegas has become a major international city because we now have gambling all across America that we don't need to run to Vegas like we used to. So
Yeah.
it's more international as much as it ever was. And that's fine. And those travelers, our prices are already more money, let alone then you do that. But like the prices have gotten so insane that
It's really crazy. I
it
mean,
is
literally.
scaring people away. Like,
Yeah.
and other people say
That was the word around town, Libby. You're onto something there.
Well, Ken was saying this last week. I thought it was just because of the jerk off in DC.
Yeah.
he's like, the prices are just so insane. Like, who can afford to go there? Like, who can?
You couldn't. I mean, you literally, unless you were just filthy rich, which it always amazes me whenever I'm in these kind of environments where you're watching, you're asking yourself, where do these people get the money to do this? Now, naturally, there are many people that have been very successful and they're entitled to do whatever they want with their capital. And I appreciate the fact that they're looking at it with somewhat of a cavalier attitude and gambling their brains out at 5 in the morning playing blackjack. You're scrambling just to get a cup of coffee, and these guys are sending it in to the tune of thousands of dollars a hand or whatever, and playing one on one with the dealer. Which I don't know. How do you feel about that, Louis? One on one with the dealer.
I don't know.
I
That's
never liked that situation in a card game. I don't know about you. I'd rather see more cards be out there. I think it kind of loosens up the possibilities of winning. I might be dead wrong about that. Is there some strategic book out there that says you always want to go one on one with the dealer, or don't you want to see more cards being delivered around the table there if you're counting or whatever in your head? I don't know. I stayed away from the table games. I pretty much was concentrating on just betting horses while I was there. I did go to the Circa. That is spectacular. If you're
nice.
inclined to go to Las Vegas, and that's in the downtown area, which has a different element. I would say the demographic is slightly different there in terms of what.
But isn't it like the prices are better there? Like, isn't that?
Yes, but not as like they used to be. Where
Oh, really? Oh, that's okay. So that's an issue then.
some places, I mean, it wasn't the same cone job that you were getting on the strip. The best. It's funny too because that sort of turned me off. So I only had one meal at my Mon Ami Gabi, and actually even they, which used to be reasonable, we're starting to get into not quite the same level of price gouging you were seeing in other places.
Mm.
But what I had wasn't exactly anything amazing, and it ended up costing me $40 without having anything to drink. Which
Oh, Jesus.
so how many $40 lunches are you going to have? That's as an individual, no drinks,
Yeah,
a
you're gonna.
salad that wasn't all that spectacular. Their thing they're known for this. They put out like a little loaf of French bread there, and it's like $5 or whatever, which is fine. I mean, it's one of the staples there, and that people really enjoy. But and it's more about just sitting out there and watching the crowd blow by. But yeah, the word in Vegas was that they're dying, man. It's drying up. My friends who were with me, my buddy, the Mighty Melendez, one day wanted to go to like the Orleans, which he left
Jesus.
early, so he went with his other guy that was with him, and he said dead empty, and that they were talking about the idea that they're pricing themselves right out of the market there. And as you mentioned, I didn't want to get into. I don't know that I didn't see a whole lot of Trumpster presence there or influence, but maybe that's part of it. Yeah, people just they're a little reluctant to come here anyway. The way they're running people out of town, but yeah, I mean at those prices, I don't know how much longer that can hold up because and it was virtually everywhere that you went. I mean, you know you're getting coned when you go into the Caesar's Palace little market there. I mean, you're paying $10 for a beer or whatever, which was already a bargain from the bars.
Yep.
I mean, what would be the top price that you would pay for a bottle of beer, Libby?
What? Oh, for beer.
One beer.
Because even in South Beach, when
You go to a bar and you know you're not even thinking about the price. You know, it might be a little bit high. But what would you think like would be a sticker shock price on a beer?
I mean, the most you ever pay for a beer is what you do at the stadium, and it's like 12.
That's what it was. Stadium pricing. Yeah,
Jesus. Because that's
$13.
Even South Beach, when I spent the most I've spent, and I went, we got 2 drinks, and they're like, "All right," and I gave them 40, like you always say, and they're
And
like,
the guy looked at you and left.
"You don't want to tip," and I'm like, "It was 2 drinks, like 40 is not enough." Like the beers still were. There's all they're clearly were like less. They're $10, $12, whatever. Like I've never paid $20 for a beer. Like I don't.
$20 for a beer, unbelievable. Yeah, it was like 13 just as a matter of routine. $13. So yeah, that's a big departure from what used to be the real appeal of Vegas, which was even if you were losing your ass, you could eat
free drinks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was getting most of my drinks for free because
That's good.
I was betting, but yeah, so that was fine. So I wasn't getting clobbered to that level, but I'm watching people pay these prices and thinking that's going to break you a lot more than even sending your money in on these slot machines, which happen to be ice cold. By the way, I don't know that I saw anybody doing a lot of winning. Although the guy that sat next to me on the plane coming back said he won a bunch of money. He seemed very happy. And but yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you're talking about survival, one of the best meals I had, believe it or not, Louis, So I'm doing my walk of life down Flamingo Boulevard, which was right there adjacent to Caesar's Palace. It's basically on the strip there, Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo on that corner. So I walk down. I've been doing this every time I go there for years since I started the walk of life. And just before my turning point is a Sonic, Lubie, a Sonic.
Oh, Jesus.
So I was thinking, geez, I had gotten clobbered the day before, $23 for a breakfast burrito.
Ah, oh, my God, really?
I mean, was it good? Yeah, it was all right. $23. That was the price. That came with a bunch of little potatoes that seemed like they'd been sitting on the grill.
And by Vegas standards, that's impressive. Oh, my God.
$23. Yeah, it used to be the steak and eggs was $1.99.
Oh,
So anyway, yeah. So I get two Sonic breakfast burritos with sausage. Cost me a total of $8, and I walked like a mile and a half with them, carrying them back.
you're like
They still were hot, well wrapped. I don't know. Are you a Sonic guy? Because
the only thing I like there is the breakfast. I like the tater tots with chili and cheese
yeah.
and the breakfast burritos. That's the only thing I get at Sonic. So that they actually do make a decent job. Do a decent job with the breakfast burritos.
It seemed fresh, and I mean, like it wasn't like it was sitting there for a week. As you might expect if you were going to say a Taco Bell or whatever, or some place like that.
Yeah.
Did a good job, and that was it. It was very, very satisfying, the whole thing. And
Sure.
I couldn't believe I saved myself $80 on that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That was a strange. The circuit would be if you were gonna say, "Hey, I want to catch football in an environment that might be very, very unique." I would think if you went to the Circa Sportsbook and watched football there on a Sunday, that would be spectacular, or college football, because they had like a stadium set up. It really was. I would have to say, for all the rave reviews I've heard about the Circa Sportsbook, and if you're looking for a place that would be ideal, that really kind of takes you into another element. I'm sure it's not quite like the Sphere does for music, which that's the other weird thing about Las Vegas. People, Backstreet Boys, do they have any appeal to you? The Backstreet Boys. People, there was a woman sitting next to me, had to be maybe in her 30s, I guess, maybe 40, I don't know. And she flew all the way out there from Fort Lauderdale just to go to the Sphere to see the Backstreet Boys. And then she pointed out some other people on the plane that did the very same thing. I'm like, really? Who the hell would do that?
I mean, I want to see the Sphere, but it's when I would be in Vegas for some reason, then we would see the Sphere. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way.
Free tickets to see the Backstreet Boys would I have gone? Yeah, just to get that, because everybody says this thing, the Sphere for a concert is utterly insane. Even from the outside, it looks spectacular. So I can't imagine what it's like. And but that's not the first I've heard of that, where people are making special trips just to go out there to see some band they like.
Yep.
At the Sphere, which I'm thinking probably is what? I mean, it's got to be at least $300 a pop, no?
Oh, look, just to go in there when they have nothing going on and just see their light shows at $100 a person.
Yeah.
My sister just did it. She went with my nephews. So to actually go see an actual concert, I think it's between $200 and $300.
All right.
Easy.
So you got that. You got the flight.
That's a lot. Yeah, no. I'll go out there, and then while out there, definitely I want to see it.
Yeah.
We're not heading out there just for the Sphere. Like
the guy that was with my buddy, the Mighty Melendez, was staying at the Silver Sevens, a local hotel off the strip. I think he paid $240 for 2 nights. All right, $240 for 2 nights. When you went in there, literally, I don't know. I didn't realize the level of cigarette smoke that you would be. Sort of. I mean, it was almost like being in an incubator there. That was nothing but cigarette smoke. I don't know how people survive that, because I'm not used to that heavy of a cigarette presence.
Well, nowadays, I mean, who smokes cigarettes? It's rare.
Everybody in Las Vegas, and everybody that was at the Silver Sevens, because we walked into the casino for like 2 minutes while this guy was checking into his hotel. I almost died. I swear to God, Lubie, I was calling for an oncologist. They should have one at the door. They give you a cancer screening on the way in and the way out, and there's a pretty good chance that you've contracted the big C. I've never been in a place that was so stuffy. There used to be a bar here called Legends. It's on McNabb Road. I don't know if you ever walked in there.
Heard of Legends. I hadn't gone, but I heard of Legends. I know people were big fans of Legends.
I mean, it was a transformation. It was a vital transformation when you walked in the door there. It was like, You've been a bartender here for 40 years and you don't smoke?
How do you not have?
What happened to our buddy Howard Davis? I hate to say it.
Honestly, yeah.
Gets lung cancer. Never smoked a cigarette in his life. Must have been, all of those seedy gymnasiums. That he
Yep,
was,
yep.
My God, yeah. But I never been so entrenched in cigarette smoke as I was almost the entire time that you're out there. You can't dodge it. I'm surprised. You would think that would be now in the larger casinos. It's not as oppressive.
Yeah.
The presence of cigarette smoke in this place. My God,
No,
Louis, I mean, you literally you could have died. I broke out in a sweat as soon as I walked into the corner.
Jesus.
I was like, what is this? And nothing affects me more in a negative fashion than a large presence of just seeping cigarette smoke that's in the atmosphere. I don't know what they use for air. To aerate the place a little bit, but whatever it was rather ineffective. But even that was like, I mean, to pay $120 a night to stay in a dump like that, I don't know. I don't want to qualify it as a dump because I didn't see the room. But
I'm sure it's a dump.
the caliber of person was exactly the kind of people that you see in the brochure.
Yes.
So that was it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of sporting activity was taking place. I did watch, like I said, it was absolutely insane, the setup there that they had at the Circa. I ended up watching a UFC fight, which every time I watch a UFC fight, I ask myself, what is the appeal of this? I know you're not and kids are betting it like they were. I don't even know how they were able to make a bet. These kids look like they were 13. They were sitting in front of us and they're going crazy. And they had all unloaded on a favorite, which I thought, I mean, you're talking about prohibitive. One guy walks into the ring. He looks like he has no chance.
Mm.
He's 36 years old, and I think this was his retirement party. And the guy that he was fighting was a minus 360 favorite.
Mm.
And so were these kids at 13 actually laying 360 to win 100 on a UFC fight, which it was virtually no contest. It was only a matter of time before it ended up in a stoppage. But and it was a championship fight of some caliber because it went 5 rounds. They stopped it in the 4th round, but after 3 rounds, we were thinking, okay, good, enough of this. Let's get out of here. And these guys are thrilled. I mean, fascinated by it, but it still looks the same to me. It really does. It looks like 2 guys fighting at the Temple Bat Yam, where one guy gets the other guy down and they just kind of lay on each other for a while. And then the other guy finally gets the inspiration to give a noogie, the guy that's on top.
Yep.
And the ref steps in and stops it. That's it.
That's the whole thing. Yes.
How is this so popular, Lubie?
I didn't realize it was still popular. I know it had its day in the mid to late 2000s, early 2010s. And then
They didn't have it at the White House. What are you talking about?
Like it peaked with Ronda Rousey, and then you had Conor McGregor.
McGregor was big, sure.
It crossed over in that time, but that was 7 years ago. Like I since then, I haven't heard much about it. I know they tried to make it a mainstream thing, but I don't know anyone that talks about it or watches it anymore. So It's interesting to me that it still is a thing because we were at Landlubbers last week, and right before we're leaving, they want us to promote a fight that is this weekend, I think, and that was MMA, and I was like, okay, sure.
Do anything for me, I have to say. Every time I watch it, I think the same thing. Like, I've seen good matches. It's not like there haven't ever been good fights.
Yeah, they're rough.
I'm not a fan of all of the stuff that goes on when the 2 guys are just laying on each other for like 3 of the 5 minutes of the round. But very popular there. And of course, as I said, the other thing that's amazing is how many people bet on soccer games, Libby. We're really in the Stone Age when it comes to obscure soccer games are on, and you're wondering, why is everybody screaming over there in the corner? Is it a horse race? What is it? And sure enough, some guy had scored a goal for Tijuana, in their game against some team from Slovakia. You're like, what the hell? Who knows what league this is? What level of play it is? I have no idea. I did see a little bit of, believe it or not, I probably saw more Inter Miami CF soccer than I did at any other time previously in my life. I saw these guys running around a little bit. I don't know if they won or lost because I really didn't care, but that was that. And of course, it's weird too because now Vegas has sports teams in virtually everything. They have it in every league except what the NBA.
Yeah.
They have a WNBA team, which makes you think. Is there still a reluctance to put an NBA team in Las Vegas? How could there be, Louis?
I don't know because they have the NFL, they
have Major League Baseball coming.
The A's are coming in baseball. Why would you care about NBA? I understand we're having issues. The NBA seems to be popping up, but
Oh yeah,
is
they
that
have
it? I don't know.
NBA may as well make posthumously Pete Rose the commissioner at this point.
Yeah.
The way people are betting their brains out on that stuff, but still, always interesting to be in Las Vegas. I mean, everything that you could possibly want to do is right there in front of you. I'm gonna actually agree with Mayo. Quality of In-N-Out Burger. The one that I visited there, that's on the strip in this little alleyway that has a bunch of restaurants. And the French fries used to be, well, wasn't that like a big feature there? In-N-Out Burger, French fries.
I just do everything animal style, so it all tastes the same. So I don't know if
I
it's
mean, the burger I had there was tasty. I mean, I don't know that it was the greatest, but it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, if you went, I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Fries, though, I remember that they used to like actually put like a real potato there right in front of your face. These seem like maybe they came out of some frozen bag somewhere. They'll be,
oh wow, and that's what Mayo's been saying. I don't
but
know.
but cranking, I can't believe how this
Oh,
place is cranking
'Cause
midnight
it's cheap compared to everything else. Like,
because they're actually charging their regular prices.
yeah. I don't think the price have gone up by leaps and bounds.
No, I mean reasonable, right? You're looking for any meal that you can get that's under $100 for an individual. All right, we're going to come back with more. Lots to analyze here. We had a lot of Major League Baseball activity taking place. You had that wild playoff there. Did Professor do it? Did he bet Rose to win the St. Jude Classic?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Justin Rose had to be in again like 100-1. He ends up, and his JJ Spawn's having a hell of a season, huh? Talk about a guy that came out of nowhere. In golf, I watched a lot of tennis, was tempted to bet on some of the matches there. I never really got around to doing that because I was convinced that I was going to find a way to make some money on the horses, which I never did. I never connected. I had 4 straight marginal losing days, Lubie. That was very disappointing. I never really got rolling there, but I was losing like nothing, like $100 a day. So I guess 400-500 for a 4-day episode out there in Las Vegas. You would have to consider that somewhat of a win, no?
Yeah, it's Vegas. I mean,
It's Vegas, right? I mean, $100 bill there. You talk about evaporating into thin
yeah.
air. It's almost like you're going to a Lance Burton magic show. All right, we'll come back with more here in a moment. Good to be back with you guys on this fine Tuesday. Can't believe it's already Tuesday, Libby. So we continue in a moment. Now that. The time. 8:35. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. Make the right choice for your home. Call Choice Mortgage today.
You can't fake caring. Women can sense this immediately. You don't really care. You didn't really want to do any of this.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Had some memories jogged. Most of my experiences in Las Vegas either centered around, I would have to say, the majority of them were always involving boxing in some capacity. There was a period of time there where they were doing all the Radio Rows for the Julio Cesar Chavez fights. Don King was sending everybody out there. It was absolutely great. And I had a couple of very unique experiences there, which I was reminded of, including I didn't realize this, but the Mighty Melendez, who came out to visit me from California, my former running mate out there many, many, many years ago, actually met me in Las Vegas. So when I called that fight, it was a Wayne McCullough. He was at one time I believe he was a super bantamweight champion, which is like 122 pounds. A guy from Ireland was being promoted by the network I was working for. Prime Network was owned in part by Dan Goosen, the boxing promoter. At least he had a piece of it. So naturally, whenever they were doing boxing, and I believe, I don't think it was still called the Schlitz Malt Liquor Fight Night, Lubie. But how proud am I to have been a part of that series? Actually, they had some really good fighters there, but Mighty Melendez actually accompanied me to that Jerry's Silver Nugget was the name of the place. Jerry's Silver Nugget, where literally the cab driver stopped before we got anywhere near there. We're like 3 blocks away. He says, "This is as far as I go." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Nobody goes into that neighborhood. You got to be flat out of your mind." Now, I just looked up Jerry's Silver Nugget because I keep thinking that the name of this place was Johnny Silver Dollar for some reason, Libby. Well, why is that? It's juxtaposed in my mind. And you ever become convinced that something that you were dead wrong about was in actuality what it is that you were talking about? So it's Jerry's Silver Nugget is the name of the place. I looked up the brochure. You would think this was Caesar's Palace. Jerry's Silver in a neighborhood where I believe Sonny Liston was even afraid when he was collecting money for loan sharks. Even Sonny wouldn't walk into this neighborhood, and he was a pretty tough customer. This was before he became the heavyweight champion. That was one of his jobs that led the mob to believe, hey, you know what, we could throw this guy in the ring, put some gloves on him, and make more money that way than just having to bust people's faces up collecting money by Jerry's Silver Nugget. But one of those experiences that you have where you're wondering, oh, okay. And I can't remember if I had like my bag with me because I was going to be leaving right after I called his fight at Jerry's Silver Nugget. I think I had like my suitcase. And I'm walking 3 blocks to this hotel because the cab driver wouldn't even. I mean, what are you going to do, Libby? You got a live TV show coming up. What would you have said? Hey, listen, I'm not sure about this neighborhood. Turned out okay. We survived it, and there were no incidents of any significance that I knew of. Maybe a couple of people got shot when they were outside. And that was fun. And then I didn't go by this place, but I used to love going there because I'll never forget. And I've told this story many times. A buddy of mine and I are sent out there to cover this Don King heavyweight championship tournament that he had, where I guess this was pre Mike Tyson even winning a championship. And he was the last entrant in this tournament. They had 8 guys that were going to go through like a whole tournament of like a bracket and eventually have a heavyweight champion crown. And Tyson ended up being that guy. But and that was when he knocked out Trevor Burbick at the end. I guess maybe this. I'm pretty sure that was the event. And I remember going by this gymnasium there, boxing gym, real seedy place called Johnny Tacos, which was a famous place. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget sitting with a young Mike Tyson and an unknown trainer who had just finished his boxing career. He was sort of prominent on ESPN, Freddie Roach. And we sat down with these guys for like an hour. Tyson could have been any more engaging or delightful at that point. And sure enough, all of his troubles came. What was it all Ruth Roper, or do you think it was when he got under the management of Don King that things went completely south? But it was a time of innocence there, Louis, where and some very enjoyable experiences, sort of off the beaten path. Which at that time, that was all they had, right? You didn't have all these other professional sports there, which certainly has changed the entire sporting landscape of what Las Vegas once was. As boxing was like the main thing there, and these seedy gyms were absolutely fantastic. All right, college football rankings. What do you make of what we're seeing? Is it always going to be the same heavyweights that are going to dominate college football? Is the era?
It feels like it.
I mean, when you look at college basketball, the way is the NIL eventually going to eliminate what is a wide open spectrum for college basketball teams, or is that game too easily influenced by one player to ever have that circumstance take place, because there's always going to be some school that can pay one guy, but can you pay 30 guys?
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know. Are we going to see this imbalance where basketball remains wide open and football is going to boil down to the same? How many teams really have a chance? 12 to win championships on any given year? What do you think?
Well, the basketball thing, it's I think a lot had to do with the COVID, where you had the super seniors, so a lot of these mid majors were able to hold on to guys for a really long time, so it made them more veteran. Is that the way it's going to be going forward? I don't know. We'll see. Football, I mean, it's been like this for a while, and I don't like the playoffs made it interesting because, like, look, Oregon was playing the best ball going in, and then Ohio State was the team with the most talent and figured it out in the playoffs, and then just murdered everybody.
How did Ohio State lose to Michigan last year?
Because he got cute.
Not possible.
Because but if you notice, it was that game that he went back to saying, screw it, we're just going to throw it all over the field. And no one could defend that, because once they start doing that, they had two starting NFL caliber running backs that they could then just wear you down. Like, he was trying to do old school Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, Michigan, Ohio State football. When that's all Michigan could do, Ohio State didn't need to do that. They had a freshman who was a Heisman candidate as a receiver. They had another NFL first round pick caliber guy as a receiver. They had all these other, they had all this talent. Like, why? Yes, you had Judkins, and yes, you had Henderson. Okay, but it doesn't mean you have to give them the ball. And that's what they learned in the playoffs, and no one could defend them. No one had a chance.
I mean, does that fall into the Cristobal factor with Ryan Day?
Oh, yeah.
Mystifying.
Yeah. Well, that was the big question with Ryan Day, right? Like, they would recruit well every year. They would get in playoffs. They would compete. And they were close that year. Look, if the kicker makes that field goal, a lot of us forget that, like, that Georgia game, they had one. The guy had, if you don't want to say a gimme field goal, fine, because he's a college kicker. He had a makeable kick that would have won the game. And Georgia then went on to plaster TCU. You would have had to think Ohio State would have done the same plastering of TCU. So he would have got a title then. The kicker boots the field goal, and they lose the game literally because of that. So, but outside of that, they've had all these teams, all this talent. It's been a few years now, and they fall short. And a lot of the time it falls on Ryan Day. And he did that again versus Michigan. And they struggle against Michigan because Michigan just plays their brand, and he thinks too much. And I don't know if it was the loss to Michigan. I don't know what it was, but still getting in the playoffs, said, screw it. And he just opened things up. And they had last year, especially, they went all in because it was going to be make or break for him, and they won. So I don't know. I mean, the way Texas is spending money, the way Georgia spends, Alabama.
Penn State ranked number 2.
The Penn State one's weird.
Penn State, or is there a Franklin factor that we have to?
Well, it's also the Aller. Like, he's a big, strong kid. He was a big recruit. He's now, this will be year 3 starting. So they're just presuming he's going to be the guy that fits the frame, but he hasn't been. Like, it's just people doing what they do with it. Well, if you were a high recruit, you're now starting year 3. It's like with DJU, with Clemson. He had started to show he was but he was a 5-star. So they're like, okay, he's got to be good. No, he was abysmal, and the freshman took over for him. Like, that's what Aller has been. Aller has not been good. Like, if you watch him, they do very conservative offense, and that's what gets them in trouble. It's not Franklin. It's Franklin not finding a way to have a really good offense. Like, every year, Penn State, it's like the 80s, like, great linebacker play, run the ball. Yeah, but that's not going to work now when Ohio State's chucking it all over the field. When you have Oregon throwing it all over the field. When you have USC throwing it all. Like, that conference isn't the same Big Ten. Yeah. Like, the Pac-12 has come in, and there's a lot of offense in that conference now. Like, you can't just 3 yards on a cloud of dust, and that's what Penn State does. Like, they play really good defense. They run the ball well, and Franklin hasn't found a way to figure out the offense. So when they start playing the good teams at the end of the year, their 14 or 17 points isn't enough. But I just don't. They have this idea that, like, our in the offseason magically got better. I don't know why Penn State's in the middle of all that. Like, Penn State to me should be the 6 to 10 range. They keep putting them in the 2 to 5 range, and it's like, okay.
Jim Sarney, leaning during your conversation there on cliche here, saying players win games, not coaches.
Okay, well, you haven't watched Mike McDaniel, and you haven't watched Mario Chris, then you don't watch anything in South Florida for the last 20 years.
Of course, the players are on the field.
They are.
Bad
Coaches find a way to lose a game.
Just as much as poor play. Yeah, there's no question.
I'm sorry.
I think coaching, what would you say? It's more influential on the college level or the pro level? I mean, in terms of actually coaching players and how to do certain things, are you really, needing to learn new techniques as a pro? I guess you always can be learning something. I was just reading a story about some young Giants running back, New York Football Giants running back, who somehow had been taken under the wing of Saquon Barkley, who you would figure this guy's an interesting guy. Well, wouldn't you figure that with the bitterness that surrounded his departure from the New York Giants, I mean, they had to decide who to pay, right? That this should be immediately. This is right out of your Chris Greer syndrome, Lubie, where you have to decide who to pay, right? It's Joe Shane, is that the guy with the Giants? And so he gives the money to Daniel Jones, who now is trying to compete with a guy who looks like he's so far ill-equipped to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League in Indianapolis. He's competing with Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, and don't know. I mean, you would think that with the prototype that he represents as an NFL quarterback, this big strapping dude with a big arm, that, I mean, it's Joe Flacco Jr., you would think, looking at Daniel Jones, no? But if you decided to pay him and let Saquon Barkley walk, and then Barkley goes and has an MVP season,
you're gone. I mean, or you should be.
Enables the Eagles to win a championship, bouncing back after being disappointing the previous year, where they were talking about firing their coach, Sirianni,
Yes.
a year after being in the Super Bowl, albeit in a losing effort to the Kansas City Chiefs,
Yep.
going back 3 years ago. That's a crucial mistake, though. But Barkley, who has every reason to turn his back on the New York Giants organization, somehow has taken this guy under his wing. And the running back who was being talked about, who I should just look up his name here, Libby. Is that kind of as vague as you can get here? Yeah, that guy.
You're not talking about Scatabo. You're talking about Scatabo?
No, not Scatabo.
Because they love Scatabo. I don't even know.
Scatabo
He
has
has a shot to do anything in the league because he's tiny as hell.
No, this guy had a good rookie season for the G-men, and I should know his name, but I don't. Let's see. Yeah. Giants rough practice. Hang on here. I'll find it, Libby. Just
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Tracy finds surprise mentor in Barkley. Tyrone Tracy is the guy's name.
No, I never heard that name in my life.
Apparently, he had a good rookie year in 2023, and then
Where's he from?
he was devastated last year. I guess he fumbled in a game in Barcelona, cost the Giants a game. Here were the Giants that had, 3-4 wins last year? And so, wins were very sparse. And I guess, maybe this comes under the heading of players have no desire to tank, because he was devastated by it. So apparently Barkley was already with the Eagles, and in the midst of this 2,000-plus yard season, took an interest in the kid and sought him out on social media. This is a whole different thing that happens today that didn't happen in the past. And just told him to, hold his head high, that stuff like this happens in the NFL. It's going to happen during different times of your career. You're going to fumble a ball and cost your team a game. You can't let it get to you and devastate you. And then they started training together, and the guy was saying that he was learning new techniques. But outside of that, I don't know. I mean, where is coaching more influential? College? It seems like the philosophy of the head coach on the collegiate level and his whole approach, whether he's being well assisted by the other members of his staff, as you imply about Dan Campbell on the pro level, where you really think that Campbell is a Neanderthal who does nothing.
You're going to see this year. Like, it's as we've seen in college. I don't know about the pros, but replacing coordinators for some is easier than others. And when we see, look at Clemson, literally when they started losing coordinators, they fell off a cliff.
Cabo is also a figurehead type of coach.
Well, it's not about figurehead. It's a lot of people wondered how much coaching he was doing, X's and O's wise, because before they started getting the coordinators they had, they were and then after they lost him, they became So he's really struggled to try and fill those roles and get back to the winning that they were doing. Remember, it was them in Alabama before Georgia, before Texas, before. Ohio State was there, but them in Alabama just swatted everyone away. I know Ohio State did win a title getting with both of those teams in the playoffs. I get it. But
well, and the college coach too. I mean, is also assembling the team.
yes, look, the college coach, I definitely think matters more. But what's interesting is the NFL coach. You always say, okay, you always say, look, they're getting paid. They shouldn't have to be motivated, blah, blah, blah. But we see that actually seems to be as big a role for the NFL coach as anything is motivating, because a lot of the time their coordinators handle the X's and O's. In college, you'll see the coach call plays on offense. You'll see the coach call plays on defense. Like, it's rare in the NFL to have, like, some coaches. Yeah, I'm sure Vrabel's handling the defense in New England just because he wants to be too involved. But most coaches to be successful have real coordinators that they trust in the pros. That's not always the case in college.
Well, McDaniel seems to be. I mean, he's got the thing up there, and he seems to.
Well, he is now. Yeah, again, it's coaches usually in trouble that.
And you wish that he had an offensive coordinator that might be able to make. Hey, what are you, crazy? You're going to throw the ball here? I don't know. I mean, this will be a real litmus test, I think, for that guy. But to the point, I think clearly college coaches are much more influential because of the fact that they seem to be. Now Dabo, I would imagine, is a very convincing recruiter. Dabo Sweeney. Is that his greatest skill? As I said many times, I was so impressed when I talked to this guy. He was a first-year head coach at Clemson. And because I was on some flagship station of the Hurricanes, which, believe it or not, I think was part of the Lampa Nation Radio Purgatory, and we were carrying Hurricanes games. So we were on the list of people that would get the head coach of the opposition. This was, I mean, how great was this for somebody that's also producing shows here, Lubie, where they call you and go, would you like Dabo Sweeney on your show? Well, yeah, we have 15 minutes window available on Wednesday. You're like, yeah,
that's
of course. Great. But he was, I believe, in his first year at Clemson at that time. And I remember after the interview, and, look, Lubie, you know how we feel about coach speak. It sounds like a bunch of, real mumbo jumbo. It's almost worse than listening to a politician speak, because you know the guy doesn't mean any of what he's saying, and it's all cliche written. Just like Jim Sarney is implying. A coach would say something along the lines of, well, players win games, coaches don't. All we can do is try to put them in the best position to win. Well, why the F don't you do it, Mario? You consider that the best position to win? That you're going to hand a ball off when anybody, I mean, every 3-year-old in the stands is screaming, take a knee, take a knee. How could you not consider that influential? I mean, only a moron makes. You can't even be dumb enough to make that call. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is one of those things where you're thinking, how influential can these guys be? Dabo could have convinced, I think, anybody to go to Clemson. I believe, and if that's his only skill, does that make him? I mean, Nick Saban probably was very convincing when he sat down. You think Nick himself went into these, what was it really like, Blindside, where Nick goes in there and very politely suggests, hey, like your man Bobby Bowden, I'd like another slice of that mama's meatloaf, mama.
I mean, he goes to close it, and Dabo, the last couple of years, they'd fallen off a little bit. This year, they're back up in the recruiting.
They're ranked very high. I mean, highly in every poll. Yeah.
This year, they think, because Klubnik's finally is he a senior? He might be a senior.
Isn't that a weird name for a star quarterback? Klubnik?
Yes, it is. Well, and he hasn't been a star. He's been.
It sounds like the guy that's in the ROTC program that is always being forced to go through like the FAMU band type of.
Yeah, it does, and he's played like it. But people think like Alar, he's magically going to figure it out this year. I don't know.
Hey, Klubnik, get in there.
I'm curious to see because Georgia new quarterback, Alabama new quarterback. Ohio State, new quarterback. Michigan, new quarterback. So all these teams that were hanging around, USC, new quarterback. Oregon, new quarterback. Like all these teams that are hanging around all have new quarterbacks. So that usually is a telltale. That's why Penn State, they have high up, because they returned their quarterback, but their quarterback was highly questionable. I'm curious to see, like Texas, it's a guy that we've seen. It's a guy that we've waited on for 2-3 years. So that's why they are sitting up there. I'm curious about, that's the big thing to me, is to see what Arch really is. And to see if Georgia, all those schools, new quarterbacks, how they keep the thing going. Because we usually just assume it's going to keep going. It doesn't always work that way.
Man, this stuff's like a few days away, Lubie.
Yeah, we have
college football.
a week and a half. Is it
right on the horizon. I
not
want to
this
be
week
the
and the
circle
next week?
watching these games, Louis. We're going to have to go out there one day and do that. Make some
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
because that really was something. I
Yeah,
don't know if you're sitting in a stadium type of atmosphere. There's like another. I didn't get to see this part where you're actually like betting games while you're in the swimming pool. Would that be the way? I mean, you've seen blackjack tables in swimming pools. They have one at Caesars where you can. I mean, how do you do it? Where do you put your wallet and your money while you're sitting in the pool, Louis? Have you ever done that? I guess you're playing off a marker.
I keep my wallet in my shorts, and I usually like try and stay by a chair, like put myself on a chair that's closest to where I'm gonna be.
Have you ever sat on one of those stools in the pool and played at a blackjack table?
No.
It's one thing when it's a bar. Yeah.
No, that I have not done.
Saturday, August 23rd. Look at this.
Yeah, week from Saturday.
Kansas State, Iowa State.
That's a real game.
Kansas,
There's two
Fresno
ranked
State.
teams that are really vying for the Big 12.
Western Kentucky, Sam Houston. I don't know how much time I'll spend watching that. Hawaii against Stanford. Hawaii favored. Oh, at home. Okay. Stanford's still in the toilet, right? Is that the deal? How did that happen?
Disaster.
Too much? Are they concentrating too heavily on academics? Is that possible?
It fell apart during the David Shaw era, and they have not been able to regain it.
The other thing, too, I just wanted to touch on this because our job is to understand these things and be able to explain them to people. So I never really fully, I don't think, it's kind of like when you were studying calculus and you didn't grasp the first concept, so there was no way you could figure out
anything else,
whether the second was any good or not. So I never fully grasped the new football kickoff in the NFL. All right. And now they've made some adjustments to it, Lubie, and I have no idea because I didn't understand the first concept. Is this second concept better or worse? I mean, do we have any idea? Does anybody really fully understand what goes on the kickoff now in the National Football League? It used to be one of my favorite plays of all time. Now, we don't want to see people, we're not advocating that guys get crushed like a grape. It got to the point where, I don't know, did you ever see a single return where somebody wasn't being attended to on the field after the play took place? So was it necessary to make some kind of adjustment? I'm all in favor of that, but it's not like you used to watch Travis Williams back there or Nolan Smith, and you were thinking, or Dion for that matter. You're thinking, and we had the luxury of having. Is that the most exciting play in football? The kickoff and or punt return for a touchdown, especially if there's a little razzle dazzle involved. I'm not talking about throwing the ball and laterals and all of that. Once in a while, the lateral play was kind of cool. But I'm talking about a guy that is just a speed burner, and he gets the ball and he cracks some seam, bounces out of a couple of tackles, breaks it to the outside, outruns two guys that have an angle on him, and boom, takes it to the house. Is that the most exciting play?
It's great. I mean, well, look, that was the thing when they took away the kick return, all intents and purposes, it did hurt the game. Like, kick returns were great.
Yeah.
So I like the return game. We talked about that with Westhoff a lot. Like he said, it's ignored, but it is the third phase, and it's a huge part of the game. And it's really fun. It is as fun a play because you assume nothing's going to happen, and then when you're like, like
it's like the bonus ball. When the guys are doing the rack and the 3-point shoot.
Yep.
So maybe you can, or some guy that's a big home run hitter coming up to the plate there after you've been getting stymied all game, and one swing and a bat, boom! All of a sudden, after a walk and a hit batter, you got a 3-run homer, you're back in the ball game. It's the home run ball. But does anybody really understand? I mean, what is the deal there, Lubie? What are we looking at? The adjustments that were made. Now, a touchback comes out to the 35-yard line?
Super far, so they're trying to make it where you don't want a touchback. You kick it short in the area, remember, because if it's too short.
So they do give it to you at the 35? Is that the
30?
30? Okay.
30.
Oh, yeah, it was the 25. Okay.
Yeah, like they've made it where it's pretty punitive. Like, so they're trying to encourage kicks again. Okay. So just go back to what I don't know why they don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, they put all these rules in to eliminate the idea.
And then they realized they got boring as hell, and people like the kicks.
So now we want more kicks. Even though we have these safety rules. I don't know. I mean, I guess if they're not crashing at full speed, that would be the thing. And guys, speaking of blindside, I mean, when it was like running into a Rick Mahorn pick If you were flying down a field and all of a sudden some guy sort of came out of nowhere and legally crushed you like a grape, I mean, are they sweeping? Is it like the Epstein files too? Issues with concussions, because it doesn't seem like that's talked about much in the NFL. The
Oh no, it's been totally.
long-term
Oh,
impact,
yeah.
just fluffed over. Oh yeah, no big deal.
They try and take it more seriously now. They do the 10th thing and then the eyes, and they take them out of games, and they're missing more games. But no one talks about it, and no one ever talked about long term.
No, no, no. That seems to be an issue, even though you would think it was. I mean, part of the reason why they instituted these new parameters on kickoffs. But it's weird that they. So that's the whole purpose of it, is to try to get more returns. Even though this was the thing that they were trying to eliminate, because as much of an exciting play as it is, I mean, does the sport need to just take a look at itself and say, guess what? As traditional as that is, it's not going to be a part of it anymore. Seems like that was the direction they were going in last year, and now they've made adjustments. But anyway, if anybody can explain the complete rule to me, Lubie, maybe we'll get into it. Because I still don't fully understand it. Do you?
The kicking?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's like a landing zone. That they're targeting you to land it. If it goes in the end zone, it comes out to like the third. I guess at the 30.
The 30. Okay.
If you kick it short of the landing zone, there's some penalty to that. I think it comes out to like the 35 or something. So it's like even more punitive. So they want you to kick it in.
Drop it in there.
The goal line to the 20, I guess, is the landing zone. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I find confusing.
Who came up with this?
I don't know. The whole thing's stupid. The thing where they stand at the 40 or they're 10 yards apart from each other, and they just wait nicely until the ball's caught. I think so. I just think the whole thing's weird. I get they're running fast at each other is where collisions are happening, but it's also, as we've learned, a part of the game people like. So you either accept, like we've talked about for over a decade now, the game has just gotten out of hand. It's guys that are the size of
trucks.
You have heavyweight boxers that can run like they're like little backs. Like it's
and
weird.
Are looking for a release point for their aggressive.
Guys are bigger than ever, stronger than ever, and somehow faster than they've ever been, running at each other. Like that's what the game is. Like at some point, you just sort of accept that's what it is, and we are barbarians at heart, and we're watching mano y mano fisticuffs, and like that's, you can try and make it safer all you want. Like at some point, the game is what the game is. Like it's freaking football.
Look, I mean, my buddy Eddie Kaplan said this a long time ago, that he stopped watching football because the game had literally kind of outgrown itself to where it was impossible. I mean, look, you still see this where after almost every play, somebody is down.
Oh, yeah. Or you look for it. You're like, oh, no one's hurt.
No one's hurt. Okay, we can run another play.
It's like a shocker.
Is that maybe an indicator, Lubie, that the game is, beyond?
Oh, it is what it is. Like, I see, I'm okay with it because I'm one of those people that is okay with bodily. No, I don't care about that. I'm not the biggest violent fan.
No, I understand. Hey, look, I'm
me. Like if a grown ass man knows the only way he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars is to almost murder someone, then and he makes that choice, I'm okay with that. You know, like I it's on these grown adults, and in college, most of them are 18, so they're grown adults. Like they're making a choice to risk their body for rewards. Again, we all do it in life and everything that happens in life. So to me, I'm okay with trying to make it safe. I just think it's funny to use that word because it's never going to be safe. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to ban the sport either. Again, I watch boxing. I've watched MMA. I understand that there is a thirst in us to see violence, and I accept it as a human being. I understand that we're animals at heart. So, you know, it is what it is. Like and if someone gets hurt, it sucks. I don't want it, but I'm not shocked. Like, oh my God.
Oh, it is. I mean, it seems odd, right? You're right. Whenever there's a play without a flag and or a body down, it's almost an exception, much more than it is a common thing. All right, we have to get out of here. It's been fun coming back, and we were peeling ourselves off the mat on a Tuesday today. So we'll get back in the groove there. I don't know that we, I mean, did we have it together today, Lubie? Was it all right in general? Or
I mean, better than, because I didn't watch a lick of anything. So yeah. We got through it.
I watched a lot of stuff. I mean,
You did. You're in Vegas. I hope you were watching stuff.
yeah, I mean, you have a huge sampler going on at all times in a theatrical type setting there, a sort of theater setup, including, as I said, the most spectacular of them all. Far and away was the Circa. Now, would you pay to zip line above Fremont Street? Like, would you pay $85 for that, Lubie? Are you a zip line guy? Because
I love it. I wouldn't do it at Vegas though. Like to me, I like
it's
doing it over
straight
like
down the street. It's not like you're in some Costa Rican rainforest or something. Did they have rainforest there? How about a Puerto Rican rainforest? Yeah, they have rainforest in Costa Rica. What am I talking about?
Yes, that it's fun. I like seeing it over a rainforest or
You're
a
going
mountain
through
range
trees and
or
birds.
canyons. You do it over Las Vegas hotels. Like doesn't
I've seen
appeal.
a bunch of dirtbags down there.
It doesn't appeal to-
Like me, didn't want to get hosed buying a beer on the strip. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll do it again tomorrow. Tony Segreto, go old school with us. We'll be back in the groove here and with you and intensifying things as we get into the football season. So thanks so much for tuning in. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they